Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Christelle Martinette, and lo and behold, I was called upon to create a reading for this period, and not only because the 14th of February is Valentine's Day, St. Valentine's Day, but it's because of the meaning of the period. I've chosen to accompany me during this reading these two stones. That is, I hope you can see them. They're both labradorites. One is light at the top and one is dark. Why? Well, labradorites are the stone that tells us that we have the ability to exceed or achieve and exceed our life's goals, and by simply following your soul's path and listening to your inner guidance. Everybody thinks, when they hear that, well, how do I do that? How do I do that? How do I do that? We hear things often, and we believe things, we think of things, and there is an inner voice. Every time I hear someone say, in your heart of hearts, that inner voice, when you know something is true, you have an instinct, you have intuition. Those are the voices of spirituality. Those are the voices of your soul calling out, and your guides. Now, there are tons of bits of information, in internet talking about how to raise your spiritual awareness, how to be in sync with your soul's path, how to concentrate on your messages from your guides, your spirit guides. I would suggest that. And another thing that I really do believe is interesting, and as I speak, I'll be mixing the cards. There's another reason. There are many more reasons why I've chosen the labradorites to accompany me here. Why? Because they increase our inner awareness. Labradorite does. It dispels fears out the door. It increases your faith. It strengthens your trust, and especially when we talk about interpersonal relations, when you interact with someone, not only loving yourself, you really do have to trust your instincts to do that. Strengthening trust is the first thing that is needed for you to interact with someone else. We all know that, and we all know how difficult that is. Many times I've said to people watching, I dance the Argentine tango, and it's always a new partner. When you're with another partner, it's always a new deal, even no matter how many years you've played, you've danced. And I remember years ago, I had a huge lesson. There must have been about 30, 40 of us. A woman, a very famous woman from Argentina, who came to Europe to do these seminars. And the first thing she said was, and it was for the women, she said, "Okay, ladies, do you think you can trust a man for 3 or 4 minutes to dance with them?" And that, of course, we all started laughing. You know what it is? That is the biggest problem with being able to interact at that level with someone. And I'll never forget that. Another thing that the labradorite does is that it removes illusion. And we all know that illusions are the first thing that makes us illusions make us make terrible mistakes, difficult choices, wrong choices. How many of us put people on a pedestal without thinking them, or not doing them justice and knowing that they are only men or women? And the interesting part of these stones, this labradorite, is that it reveals the truth in any type of situation. It's good to have by. You might think, well, it's a magical stone. It is. It is a very grounding stone, especially for people who practice spirituality and their psychic abilities, want to attune their psychic abilities and refine them. And labradorite also brings companionship. And this is why I've chosen it. All right. So because, well, the theme of Valentine's Day is love is in the air. Okay. Love, love, love. And not everyone has a companion. And many of us have companions you may not want to have, but you still do. So the situations are varied, and the more the merrier. It's part of life. So what is the most important thing for us to bear in mind? Well, first of all, that to go from A to B, there is a development. We change, and we can change our way of seeing things, our perspective on things, and we actually can develop faith and develop trust. Another thing that this is physical, the physical attributes, what it does for your physical body, labradorite. First of all, it treats the symptoms of a common cold, which is strange. You might not think about that, but it also relieves arthritis pain if you suffer from that. It also regulates your hormones for those of you who have hormonal imbalances, and it can lower your blood pressure because it lowers stress. That's what how it works. Now, I've got, of course, my tarot here and tarot insights into this period. And what I'd like to do is address those things that I have mentioned about labradorite and what it does. It dispels fear and trust. So I'm going to address those with the reading one at a time. Fears, faith, trust. Okay, where faith and trust and usually have sort of an overlapping. It's like happiness and joy. They're overlapping, but they're very distinct. Fears and it is in a class of itself. We know what fear is like, and sometimes we don't recognize it, but we can, after we analyze what we do and our actions, what fear is actually. But faith and trust. Trust, we usually believe trust to have to do with humans, one trusting another. Faith, just like that expression, taking a leap of faith, is something that you are not sure of. You don't have 100%, you're not sure of something 100%, so you want to believe it, right? So then you give them faith. You have faith. Faith is also something that it has always been in the world of religions and spirituality. But faith and trust do work hand in hand. I will take those separately. Also about illusions. I'll be talking about the illusions and the companionship aspect, bringing companionship. So let's start with the fears in this period. I've got this lovely deck. It's my favorite deck. This is the deck of I always have to look at the initiatory tarot of the Golden Dawn. The initiatory tarot of the Golden Dawn, but we'll show you. So let's take a look at our fears. In this period, what is it that our fears are pointing to? Well, it's pretty clear here. I'm seeing that it's not so much fears concern someone who has been in our life, someone who may have returned or who is at the door knocking. And again, the issue here, this is the Six of Cups about that. And the issue here is one of truth and faith at the same time. Truth and faith. The underlying difficulty in concerning fears is, yes, it is about a person who was already in our life. It's not fear about meeting someone else. So it's someone who has been, is there, perhaps has gone, come back, but fears that they may not come back. That is what is worrying us, and that is what fears are all about in this period, our fears. We have in the middle of this spread that I put out the 7 of coins. And the 7 of coins is a card that tells you, well, you're not really sure where the boundaries are. You haven't, and this is where the Labradorite comes in and helps us. We're not exactly sure how you really feel, if you want to go forward or if you want to step back. Do you have the ability to walk hand in hand with that person? Now, strangely enough, take a look at this. On either side of that 7 of coins, we've got the 6 of coins, which is an externally showing its generosity of spirit. And then we've got the devil. And the devil, we know, is all about obsession, but it's all about sexual attraction as well. So we have this, you're vacillating, going from the notion of being open and so happy and being giving of yourself, and this sexual attraction that really causes fear for you, for us, ourselves in this period. Now, of course, I have 3 more cards here, and I'll show you how they came out. We've got this wonderful 6 of Wands and the Knight of Cups. Now, the 6 of Wands is all about victory. The 6 of Wands is all about triumph. The 6 of Wands is all about saying you will win out. Your fear will not conquer you. Amen. Hurrah. Hallelujah. Your fear is not going to overcome you in this period. To gain, what is to gain, is the actual spiritual connection between you and other people. And here we have the underlying message here, which is the Page of Swords. The Page of Swords here is your request, your desire, it's not going to work unless there is fundamental trust for that person, and they will be giving you the way for you to understand that you can trust them. So it seems like your fears are closely linked with fear, with notions of trust, especially with someone that is at the door, someone who is in your life or has just come back. Now, let's see if I can, with this notion of faith, see if we can understand what kinds of insights the tarot will show us or give us, offer us when we talk about fears. Now, let's see. When we talk about faith. Very interesting. Really interesting. There is, let me show you this. All right, we've got this 8 of coins. Now, the 8 of coins is a card that usually tells us there's work, there is work in progress. This is under construction. This is something that will never stop trying to work on. Your faith and having faith is something that we all have been and will be working with probably for the rest of our lives. But take a look at how that card is flanked by these. How did this come out? This one and this one. This is the 10 of coins, and this is the Knight of Cups. Now, this tells me the 10 of coins is all about abundance, a spiritual abundance. It's all about love, really. They're responding very, very clearly to this period and to the theme of Valentine's Day. It is an abundance of love brought forth by whoever that person is at the door. There is intentionality here in this period. The intentions are, ladies and gentlemen, the intentions are, I'm willing. What I want is what you want, what we have felt so far. Now, this is, of course, a general reading, so take that in mind. And for those of you who are interested in a private reading, contact me through my website or my email, which is readings@ChristelleMartinette.com. Right in the middle of this, I was going to say relationship, this reading, remember we're talking about faith, we have the Three of Wands. And the Three of Wands is something that tells you, John, Sam, Joan, Mary, I know that you with this other person, we have history. We do have history. There's no denying that. We do have faith. If we're still talking to each other, if we are in each other's midst and you haven't banned me to another universe, we both know that we have history together, and that speaks volumes. We may not have a family together, or we do have a family, but that also speaks volumes as well. Next to that, I've got the Seven of Wands and the Two of Wands. Now, the Seven of Wands is a card that talks about churning and, this idea of faith. Can I possibly put faith in the love that we have had and have faith in the love that could be, the development of our feelings? Do I have that ability? This Two of Wands is always not an adversarial card. It's a card that gives you, I call it the tete-a-tete card. This is a card that makes you come head to head, two wands, head to head with each other and talk about it, argue about it. You did this, but it needs to be turned out. It needs to be spoken about. Now, there is a risk, of course, whether you do one or the other. Have faith. Have faith in what could be, have faith in what was, and making the mistake. All right, what are those two, sides to the spectrum? One is the Ten of Swords. The Ten of Swords tells you, okay, this is the last draw. I can one more time give faith. After that, there is no more. However, the Swords, the Knight of Swords tells you, we are going to eviscerate all there is, discuss all there could be, in order for both of us to define what faith is for us truly. And what does taking a leap of faith mean for you? What are the consequences? But rather than the consequences, what could the joys possibly be? Last card in this spread is our Empress. She's the creative one. And there's what the cards are telling you here, ladies and gentlemen, are that you need a creative element in order for you to understand together what faith means for you. And it may be the first time that you discuss something of this high nature, high spiritual nature with anyone, or with that person specifically in relation to you. And it is very difficult to do. But the prize at the pot at the end of the rainbow is a very creative element that you both earn your points and your merits. Let's take a look now, and this might not be any different from the notion of faith. Let me take a look at the cards to tell you, to take some insight, to get some insights on the notion of trust. The notion of trust and how this Golden Dawn, the initiatory tarot of the Golden Dawn, will respond to us. Let's take a look. Take a look, take a look, take a look. All right, and then I forgot something. I did forget something, and I will not forget it again. Steel drum, my steel drum. We're talking about trust. It sounds like it is off a bit. I might have to work on that. Look at this. Now we've got the notion of trust. We just spoke about faith, right? Oddly enough, trust gives us the Fool. What does the Fool tell us? The Fool is a card that is risky. It's a risk. It tells you, all right, we can just throw our cautions to the wind if you give me your trust and if I trust in you. It is really like, it's like betting all we have. And there is obviously something to pay if you bet all your things, if you bet all the money you have and you lose. Everyone loses. Next to that, oddly enough, I have the Death card. It would be sort of, the Death card is the opposite of the Fool. And I have the Knight of Coins. The Death card here, right adjacent to the Fool, is telling us it's time to change. It's time to change. It's time to completely change. It's time to close that old book and open a new book. And for those of you who are without a companion, this is talking to you. This is talking to the way you interact with yourself, the trust you give yourself in making any decision, and the faith that you take, the leap of faith that you take in relation to others. Our knight here, our knight is bringing us a coin that is the epitome of spirituality here. And the reading so far is telling us that without spirituality, without trust, you will not reach the heights of love that you both aim to reach, or you, in your mind, with another person, aims to reach. Now I've got this middle line, the focus of this spread is the Ten of Cups, and the Ten of Cups is what we all call our happily ever after card. It's a family card. It is a forever happy, walking into the sunset hand in hand. Now it is in the middle of this spread, and this is the focus of what trust means for us. On either side, and this is so funny the way they answer, we've got the Tower on one side and the Wheel of Fortune on the other. It is as if the cards are telling you, yes, it is a risk. Let's not forget that. You can go from one extreme to the other, but the prize is the Ten of Cups. Very many, 1, 2, 3, 4 major arcana so far. There are another 2 in this spread, which leads me to say, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, that the notion of what the Labradorite points to, the trust, the fear, the awarenessness that needs to be raised, our illusions that need to be dispelled, and the companionship that is coming to us, is very, very much based on our notions of trust, lack of trust, not wanting to give trust. Right under those, I've got 2 special cards. One is the Chariot, and the other is Justice, Our Lady Justice. And Our Lady Justice is all about karma, and the Chariot is all about moving into what we know, taking it consciously. The Labradorite helps us to increase our conscious awareness. Our conscious awareness of the fact that whatever we decide and move into, it will be part of our karmic pattern in the future. All our decisions discern our karmic patterns. And the last is the Knight of Wands. A lot of knights here, a lot of movement, a lot of, these cards are inciting us to move into something, to take a leap of faith that we saw in the other spread and begin to trust. This is passion. This is something not at the level of the mind to decide, but at the level of our entire soul to embrace in order for it to work. All right, now, the removal of illusions we mentioned. All right, let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at what this period brings. Let's see what the tarot, what insights the tarot will give us in terms of the illusions. And let's say that the next spread will be talking about bringing companionship forward. And for that, I will be using my Vera Sibilla cards. And we'll see that. So, removing illusions. What about the illusions? Are we covered? Or do we have, in Italian we say, they have prosciutto, ham on your eyes, you just don't see, Do we have that ham on our eyes? Or what are the illusions like for us? And are we prone to be illusioned, under illusion, and then fall disillusioned if things don't work out? All right, this is interesting. This is interesting. And again, I've got major arcana 1, 2 major arcana. And beautiful cards. All right, beautiful and very telling cards. First thing is the Chariot. This is the second time the Chariot has come out. And we know that the Chariot is movement forward. The Chariot tells you go, 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 go. And the Tarot are telling you, ladies and gentlemen, go, go, go. I have no doubt about that. We're talking about illusions, removing illusions. They are possible to be removed. More insight. We've got the 9 of Wands and the 7 of Wands. 2 cards that tell us specific things. The 9 of Wands are cards that tell us, look, I'm sorry, the 9 of Swords. The 9 of Swords is a card that tells us this illusion, the idea of being, being prone to illusions is what keeps you awake at night, because you're not trusting your own gut, you're not trusting your intuition, you're not trusting your own spiritual nature. And the 7 of Wands tells us, why is that? Because in the past it has happened over and over again. But across the center here, the focus is the 6. Again, we have the 6 of Wands, this lovely victorious card. This is a message for all of us that it is possible to remove illusions when we put our minds and hearts to it, our soul to it. On either side, however, we've got, again, a Knight of Cups and the 5 of Cups. The devil in the deep blue sea. It's as if the Knight of Cups, you have on the one side, there is a range here from moving towards love and receiving love and throwing it away, not being able to trust that it's a mirage, believing that it's a mirage. These are the consequences. These are the risks. There are 2, the way the cards talk are so, so lovely. First, we have this 3 more cards, right? These are the 2 under the center. We have the 8 of Swords and the King of Wands. If there is any card, any king who is a master at moving toward something and with passion and with strength and courageousness, it is the King of Wands. The 8 of Wands says, nope, I'm not moving. So here again, the cards are showing you the possibilities from one range, one area of the spectrum to the opposite end of the spectrum. What can occur? But you have the stars on your side. It's the stars on your side. These 2 major arcana at the beginning. The entrance card, the Chariot, and the outgoing. The incoming and the outgoing is the Star. Really interesting messages for us. A real interesting message in the sense that they're telling you the situation is like this. You've got this context. You've got these people, if you have a person in your life, or the idea of a person, or someone who you had believed could have been, there for you. And these are the potential consequences. One is the trust issue, the major thing that is holding us back is the trust issue, and that is what you are working toward. Now, I have the, we said that the labradorite is a stone, a gem that brings companionship. And I'm going to have open a last spread for us here. And what I do usually here is mix the cards, and I will cut them in half as is customary when we read cards. And then I would separate these cards into 3 smaller decks, and I'd like for us to concentrate a moment and think which is the deck that we will choose. I'm getting one, and I take the other 2, turn them over, and read the bottom cards. I'll show you those later after I spread the rest. The deck that we have chosen, I spread them in rows of 5 cards. In rows of 5 cards. Okay, this is really telling us some story. This is the most interesting part of, I think the most interesting part. Well, it comes at the end of the reading anyway. All right, so at that deck, the one that we chose, number 1, has given me 3 rows of 5 with 2 extra cards. Now, under the 2 decks that we didn't choose, and this is something that tells us what is occurring as we speak around this period, will be occurring very shortly. This is the widower, mourning something, and conversation. This is the topic of discussion, either in your mind or with another person. It's over, it's done. Why resurrect it? Does that mean that since it was over, we have an opportunity to make it come again, just like the Fool card told us at the top of that other spread? Let's take a look. Now, in the 3 rows of 5, there is a focus card, because in 5, there is the 3rd card, which is the focus, so the center row. And what do I have? I have the room stanza, and the room is always about communication. Relatively soon, communication of an intimate nature, communication of things, the topics being that concern you and another person or persons that you discuss anything with. There are, and I won't show you all of them, but I will show you, well, right underneath that card is the love card. And I don't have to tell you what that means, but I do have to show you that when you have a grid of cards, let's say 3 cards, there are corners, there's a center, there's catty corners, and there's what I call the knighting. And what I have, what's knighting 2 over and 2 up, what's knighting this is the bitch, who I call the bitch. This is the enemy, female enemy, and it is a female enemy. And this is high on our minds in terms of our conversation with the person or persons that we are interested in, and the idea of a third party that is maybe still around, may not be still around, but their essence is they were the cause for your breakup. There is this other party that is in the air and will be part of your conversation. Above this beautiful card of stanza, the room, which is communication, intimate communication, we have allegrezza al cuore, happiness in the heart. Okay, so all around the center camera, the conversation card, the communication card, intimate communication soon, incoming soon, we've got riunione, being together. We've got love, I showed you, and amica, which is friend, harmony. She speaks to harmony. Now that's the watchword here. The watchword for you to bear in mind, not losing our cool. of that little square, okay, the square is getting bigger and bigger. We have first this stanza, this communication. We have the happiness in the heart. We have love. We've got harmony. We have the reunion. In the catty corner, we had this bitch, and she was at 1. We have at the other side of that square, melancholy, looking back. Right, there's going to be that because there's history. Then we've got Donna di Servizio, the housemaid, and she's always a helper. There's something here that helps. And the other corner is the artist. And the artist is also, could be a professional person, but it also is a person who works hand in hand with our housemaid. And the nature is that you both are different people. There's a more maturity here. There's a different form of maturity, different from the past. You are taking stock of your position as they were, both of you, your positions in the past. First off, first card we get, incoming card of this 3.5 rows, is the lettera, the communication, written communication. And what may start is in the form of chatting, if you will. At the direct opposite on the third lower corner is viaggio, is moving toward each other and eventually coming together to meet and discuss things. The other two corners, one is omaggio di preziosi, and omaggio di preziosi are gifts. There's also communication, and usually of a conversation nature, of an oral communication. And then we have the lover here. This is a male, but it could be a female as well. This could be a male, okay, the enemy. It could be a male. Then we have last two cards of the 3 rows are opposite each other. And I have here casa, the house, and we've got the gran signore. This is the important person. Could be the grande dame, so it could be the important person, the person we are talking about. Casa as well. Now, since there's under this gran signore, there's the lover. This tells me that the party, that you both have come from a situation or are coming from a situation or will be going to another situation, but currently you are both with baggage or have been with baggage. Things have changed. Things have started to change. And the notion here is to think, is it possible? How could it be possible, with all of the experience I have had with my own personal situation, my husband, my lover, my live-in companion, all those years together, and how things changed. No more lovemaking. We never went out anymore. We started changing our habits. There's not, do they love me? Do they not? So what happens? The development of a relationship, a common development, life, what happens usually in life, is something you fear terribly. We all fear this terribly. I do not want to be in a situation where I grow, I develop, and the other person doesn't. And this is something that will prompt you both to, and this is quite interesting that we end on this almost, this is what will be the basis of your conversation. Is it possible, and even if you don't have a companion, you will think, is it possible for me to imagine or conceive of a relationship where in this day and age where we cannot see each other, especially if they live far away, could we have some form of relationship nonetheless? Or if we are both in a situation we are not free, but we are in a situation where we're changing our status, would it be wise for us to see each other? Would it be conceivable? Would it be best if we both waited? So there's, could we both conceive together a new type of style of living together? Maybe living separately in 2 different places, close enough so we can have the benefit of each other's company. And you start thinking, maybe there's another way that I don't know yet. Maybe there's a way for us to understand and conceive of a life together that is more individually based and more balanced in this way. Now we've got the two last cards I mentioned to you. One is called Gran Consolazione. This is the great consolation. And this, I think, is by far one of the best cards in the deck. And this is what comes out of it is so rewarding. It is the musings, the thoughts, and the conversations, and the conceiving of what could possibly be, giving the faith, and wanting together to take a leap of faith. Here, this is Sospiri, sighing. Finally, that ship is coming in. Finally, we have come to a mature space where we could have conversation, probably enrich both of our lives with simply by talking about it, and learning something about ourselves, and maybe come to a situation where we create together something completely new, without and both respectful of each other's idiosyncrasies. Really beautiful reading. I didn't expect this so enriching, the reading. Thank you so much for listening. And I do hope this will help you get through this period, this spiritual, very charged, highly charged spiritual period that evolves around Valentine's Day. That could be very high. There could be highs and lows for all of us. And take special care with your self-care and doing things that you really love, which will help you just enjoy your life altogether. Namaste, ladies and gentlemen. Until we read together again, I will be back. Remember to mark on your calendar March 20th. It is the United Nations Day of Happiness in the world. I'll be having a pleasure-seeking summit. We'll be here on my YouTube channel. Bye-bye. Be back soon. Be back soon. Be back soon.